Hi, how you doing? My name is Vincent Faney. I am the producer, the director, and the host of the show Insanity Unplugged in Search of Game Changers. I'll be talking about my book, Transcendence. Now, transcendence, mystical events, dreams, hallucinations, or insanity. People have feel like they've reached mystical states because they've been meditating. Some people have mystical states or think they do, religious experiences, because they instead may be having psychotic breaks. Some people might be insane. Some people may be taking peyote or something and have a mere hallucination. Some of these alleged transcendent states may be due to imagination and simply the machinations of a brain in REM sleep. But I am submitting to you that oftentimes transcendent states are real, that our brain has the potentiality to experience and have glimpses outside of this particular reality we're living in. There's theories that we have alternate realities that actually exist to the right or left of this plane of existence, and sometimes our brain seems to have the power to dwell into these other interdimensional planes. I entertain the thought strongly. But regardless of their dreams, hallucinations, flights of fancies, or whatever, I have experienced, as have many other people, that certain transcendent states forever rewires you, changes you, makes you evolve, makes you more of a loving person, a person who wants to give, a person who feels closer to the Creator or God, a person who wants to change the world, become a force for good. Now that sometimes can lead us into some dangerous situations where we're overly empathetic and we basically will allow our strong feelings of love to operate and move out of areas of good common sense. I've learned the hard way that that you can put too much emphasis on empathy and try to work it to where people don't have to suffer, don't have to have any obstacles, and I've learned that's not a good thing either. Everybody needs, for their spiritual growth, obstacles and challenges. And so the thing is not to take away these obstacles and challenges, but to help people, give them nudges and support to face the challenges and to benefit by being transformed in a positive way by these experiences. And that's why I believe that obviously many disciplines, such as weight training, I think is one of the best ones. Like when I wrote my book, The Zen and the Art of Resistance Training, a yogic and scientific approach to weightlifting, that it's a good instrument for reaching transcendent states. It doesn't have to be just weightlifting. It could be playing the guitar. I got a friend who's a world-class guitar player who has told me about his transcendent states. So it takes a lot of different disciplines like dance and martial arts and meditation and so forth. I believe weightlifting is one of the better ones because it takes anybody, regardless of their athletic proficiency, their genetics or not, by setting the bar low, no pun intended, that if you start low enough, but you have high enough dreams, like for instance when I first started weight training, I basically fantasize about being the strongest person in the world. I could visualize, actually feel like I was bench pressing 1,000 pounds and squatting a ton, all this for reps, and could do everything for multiple reps and so forth. And I believed that was possible. 100% I believed it. And yet I knew that when I first started training, I couldn't just slap 1,000 pounds in the bar and try to bench it. So I set the bar low. And I consistently used weights that were sub-maximal, high reps, basically to train my nervous system, my brain for success. And weight training has taught me a lot about failure and how to deal with failure, which is very important. A person who does not fail has not really tried or pursued things. And since failure comes our way all the time, especially when you're working out, you got to learn how to deal with that and not let that hold you back. So again, I think one of the most important things to do is to realize that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and that, ask ourselves the questions, why are we having a human experience? Obviously, there's a reason. And even if there's no reason, we could find a reason. We could maybe think about the possibility. Is it possible that there is a life after death? And if there is life after death, is it there for anybody who lives and then dies? Or is it for those people who develop themselves fully to develop a solid ego, a solid sense of individualism, yet at the same time developing more of an interconnected feeling, a oneness with the universe, to experience that duality? Sort of like what is described with Jesus Christ and some other avatars. You know, Jesus was supposedly God, but he was the Son of God. And then there was the Holy Ghost. So I think that was metaphors for having that duality, sort of like the Tao symbol. People look at the Tao symbol as a duality, two energies. But when you look at the two energies plus the entirety of both, it's really a trinity as well. So these are things that I think about, and these are things that I pursue to learn more about by experience, experiential events. So when you read some of these events that I've experienced, like out-of-the-body experiences, you know, imagine, if you will, if you're standing outside your body and everything is a sensory rich or more sensory rich than this reality, and you go, wow, you know, I thought blue is blue until I'm in this state. Now the blue I see is bluer than any blue I've ever seen before. You see energy fields. Sometimes you run into other entities. You have powers in your other doppelganger, your body, that you wouldn't have in normal life. And I get the feeling when my doppelganger, when I look down at it, and I have had all these things that I could do, like travel time and space, fly through the air, do superhuman feats, leap up 3 stories. I figured that that was the type of body in that form that God intended a body to have, or even beyond. It makes you really call into question the nature of this reality. Does this reality exist? Is it a manufacturing of our mind? Do we live in a virtual world where there's we as a superior part of a superior race playing computer games and allowing a part of our consciousness to go into this virtual reality and live certain roles for entertainment or for education, rebuilding of the self? So many questions. But the experiences are like uplifting, dramatic, realer than real, surreal, hyper real. And it makes you question. And regardless, even if you don't come up with answers, when you come back to here, you're changed. You are just basically, it's just like there's no movie, no surround sound movie, no surround screen movie, no virtual computer that you wear these days that could even come close to matching the exhilarating, the often frightening, the very hyper-real experiences that you could attain in during mystical events. Now, I corresponded with Dr. Rick Strausman and some other neurologists who give a lot of consideration to this, and that's why they use DMT and psilocybin and other hallucinogens as an instrument for people to get in touch with other possible realities. There are many people who have podcasts, Joe Rogan, one of them, bodybuilders who just at one time, like myself, just wanted to get strong, reach transcendent states through weightlifting, and their training and weights, a mere materialistic, mechanistic discipline, somehow transformed them into becoming more spiritual, to where they started asking these questions and started experimenting, not partying recklessly, frequently with hallucinogens, because I think that could be harmful, and also maybe you become too dependent on that easy tool. But they often ponder, is DMT that our brains produce, that may be the part of the source for inciting dreams, inciting mystical events, inciting out-of-the-body experiences, near-death experiences, is that hormone, that neurotransmitter that our brain produces, and the other analogs that we take from exogenous sources, from psilocybin and LSD and mescaline, mushrooms and whatever, are they gateways to other actual realities? Do they allow our brain, part of ourselves, to travel and move about these other realities to participate? Who knows? Some hardcore scientists, psychologists, psychiatrists, transpersonal psychologists, neurologists, quantum physicists give some of these questions great considerations. They're serious about this. And so there's a question is, can we develop a soul, a totally congruent ego, a sense of self that will transcend the body once this physical body dies? And some people think that's what Jesus Christ did during the resurrection. The resurrection was actually him surviving his body. Anyways, I think you'll like the book. And again, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Walk of Insanity for Affordable Housing. Check out my Zen and the Art of Resistance training page, my intensity, my Insanity Intensity page for weightlifting. The one book, the one page that is dedicated more to mind-body aspects of weight training and how it influences progressing. And the other one is more for those people who don't want to think about transcendent states and so forth, and just want to look at the nuts and bolts, the mechanistic view and approach towards weight training in itself, which is useful. So also go to my YouTube channel, which is also named Insanity Unplugged, my WordPress blog site, which I actually have to update and start getting more interactive with, also called Insanity Unplugged. And when you go to any of these pages, these sites, please subscribe. Please follow. Please make comments, interact. I want to hear from you, even if you don't agree with me, because I don't require people to agree with me. I want them to give their honest perspective, which is often may be different than my own. And how else am I going to learn? How else, will I be able to find the true nature of things without other people's perspective? And share. Please share. Share as much as possible, and share it to people's pages if they're comfortable with that. If they're not comfortable with having you post something on their page, put it in their messenger. Give them the option. Ask them to check it out. Ask them to share it if they approve of some of these videos or books. So again, I want to thank you, and I'll see you next time.